Well, that underwhelming August jobs report today piling more headaches onto the Resolute desk. So President Biden tried to channel the counter-punching style of his predecessor during today's remarks at the White House.
There have been so many records the stock market has hit under my presidency. Imagine if the other guy was here. We're doing great. It's wonderful. The stock market is surging. It's gone up higher to me than anybody.
All right, let's talk about the growing list of foreign and domestic issues facing the Biden administration with tonight's Bream team. Democratic strategist Kevin Walling and RNC National spokesperson Paris Dennard. Great to have you back, gentlemen.
Hey, Shannon, good to see you.
So some tough polling out for the president today in numerous different outlets. The Federalist says this, President Joe Biden's approval rating following his handling of the Afghanistan disaster is tanking. A new poll from ABC News and the Washington Post indicates 57% of independents are increasingly frustrated with Biden's tenure in the White House, a 14-point increase since the 43% disapproval rate measured in June. Paris, there's a lot going on for this White House.
There's a lot going on for this White House. And look, I think what you see right now in the polling, because President Biden is tanking, Kamala Harris, the vice president, was tanking before the Afghanistan tragedy. And so you see this whole entire administration tanking in support because there's so many crises. If you're an American who cares about safety and security, there's been no movement on the border. If you care about safety and security, there's been no movement when it comes to police reform. There's been no movement when it comes to stopping the defund the police issue. If you're a family that's concerned about your pocketbook, you go to the grocery store and you see food inflation. You see gas prices increasing. And now you look at the fact that the jobs number, the jobs report was so terribly bad, especially for Black Americans. 8.8% unemployment for Black Americans. That's out of control. It's wrong. And this administration is doing nothing to curb all of these crises. And that is aside from the debacle in Afghanistan. So if you're a Gold Star family, you have a president who made the families terribly upset because of the insensitivity. If you're a veteran, you see this president leaving Americans behind. And if you're an American or an ally, you're looking at this presidency and saying they do not have our backs. They leave Americans stranded. They leave our allies stranded. We can't trust them. We're frustrated. The American people are fed up.
Kevin, that is the campaign ad you're going to hear next year for 2020. And, a lot of Republicans are already going to be on board with what Paris has to say. But it's about the independents. And we keep seeing that in these different polling apparatus. NPR talking about that says a majority of independents now disapprove of his performance. That's bad news for Biden and Democrats. They're a key swing group. One Biden won in 2020, but who now thinks he's off track. Are you worried about the implications for 2022?
Yeah, absolutely, Shannon. I mean, to your point, independents are key to the president's victory, obviously, in 2020, to Democrats taking back the House of Representatives in 2018 against Donald Trump. And certainly it's been a difficult couple of weeks, obviously, with the news of COVID increasing across the board with the Delta variant, and obviously the situation, tragic situation coming out of Afghanistan with our troops, 13 losing them on the ground in Kabul. But I'm an eternal optimist. I'm a happy warrior. I think you're going to see a president now with Congress coming back, focusing on his infrastructure bill. Obviously, in the wake of this devastation, the president, in a reporting at the outset, was in Louisiana all day today, meeting with victims, inspecting the damage. He's going to push for this bipartisan infrastructure bill, $1 trillion to remake and reimagine our economy when it comes to energy and transportation. That's going to be a good thing for this president. And of course, politics should not be seen in a vacuum. At this point, in Donald Trump's presidency in the first year, he's actually 7 points ahead in terms of where Joe Biden is over Donald Trump. So politics doesn't happen in a vacuum. Obviously, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The president is down in numbers from what we've seen, but we have plenty of time to turn those numbers around. I think 430 days out from 2022, to your original point.
But who's counting? We're all counting. We're all watching.
But who's counting?
Counting?
We're always counting.
Listen, one of the things that Democrats are pointing to this new abortion law in Texas, and are saying that they actually think it's helpful to them. The Atlantic says, is this how the Democrats break the midterm curse? It will allow Democrats to paint Republicans as hardliners who are out of touch with public opinion. This issue could very well be the tipping point in districts that are heavily suburban with a lot of educated women. Paris, they're being painted as extremists if they support this.
Look, the Democrats can try to point to one particular issue in a local issue in Texas and try to change the attention and move the attention from the American people away from all of the crises that we have before us. The Democrats are looking at short-term solutions for long-term problems. And when you look at all of the things that are happening, whether it's the border, COVID-19, Afghanistan, the economy, jobs, safety and security, this is an administration who is failing at all of those. And so this one issue in Texas is a local matter, but it will not be something that's going to weigh nationally, because nationally, Americans are suffering across the board. And that is what Democrats do not want to talk about.
Very quick final word to you, Kevin.
Yeah, Shannon, you just saw Paris, the RNC spokesperson, not disavowing this Texas law, saying it's a local issue. It's certainly not a local issue with the Supreme Court weighing in. It's backwards. It's vigilante justice, as the president talked about. It's a very dangerous path that the Supreme Court is going down with this Texas law. And I think it's going to really animate voters in 2022.
We'll see. They've got that big Mississippi abortion case this fall as well. Quick, Paris. Yeah.
It's true.
I won't. Not going to disavow somebody standing up for the rights of the unborn. 6 weeks, have a heartbeat, you should be protected.
Vigilante justice, $10,000 bounties on women, Paris, that's pretty dangerous.
We got to leave it there. Paris and Kevin, we appreciate your
Shannon.
time, both of you. Thank you.
Have a good Labor Day weekend.
You too.